Sorry, guys.
Well, welcome everyone officially to Check It Out. And Janeé, the floor is yours.
Hello, guys, and thank you so much for tuning in to Check It Out. I'm excited to be finally back with you guys. We have been on the road quite a bit for the STEM fairs and summer reading summits. So March was kind of a whirlwind, but I am happy to be back, and let's get started. Let's see, and there we go. Are you seeing the front slide where it says my name and phone and email?
Yes, and your lovely face.
Brenda Hall took that picture, by the way.
Oh, photo credit Brenda Hall. I love it.
Photo credit Brenda Hall. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Janeé Jackson Doring. I'm the Youth Services Consultant for the State Library of Iowa. There's my phone number and my email information. If you have any questions, concerns, I've had a lot of questions recently about summer reading or starting a teen advisory board. If you have just any youth concerns or questions, please contact me. I'm more than happy to speak to you over the phone, email, Zoom, however you'd like. So what is our plan? Today, we are going to talk about Storytime Standouts. For those of you who are new to Check It Out, this is the best of the best of books that are out there right now. And I do a segment called Storytime Standouts to talk about the best books to use for story time. So we'll do that. We'll discuss teen fiction books, early readers, middle grade books. We'll do a board book roundup. We'll have some chapter books, picture books, what I'm going to be starting reading with the What I'm Reading segment. And we will also have some giveaways and upcoming events that you should put on your radar. So we are going to start with our Storytime Standouts. These are the books that I came across that you could use for story times. So I found these two delightful books. The first book on your left is called Squeakaboo, and that is a board book by Natasha Wing. Natasha Wing is the author of the Get Ready for, It's Time for Back to School, It's Time for the Dentist, Going to the Dentist. She has all these lined up themed books, but this is kind of a breakaway from that. This is a Lift the Flat book. And the cool thing about this book is kids have to guess what animal is hiding under the flaps. I don't know if you can see this or not, but this is the book. And it says, what scurries past? It's small and fast. Squeakaboo, it's a mouse. What's gathering seeds among the weeds? Chickaboo, it's a chipmunk. So very simple sentences. What's in the coop? I thought this was cute. Making clucks and poop. Because you know little kids like talking about poop. Chicken. So this lends itself well to an animal sound story time for baby, toddler, or preschool. You can make the sounds of the mouse. There's a snake, there's a chicken, we got a skunk. For a skunk, you could just say P-U. There is a frog. Here's the snake right here. Ikaboo, a snake. But it's very bright colors, very bright illustrations, super cute, super fun. This is Squeakaboo by Natasha Wing, and the illustrator is Grace Habib. Super adorable for story time. The other book I adored this picture book. This is called The Artist, and it's by Ed Veer. And this got a starred review in Kirkus. And I want to pull up my notes real quick because this book answers the question, what is an artist? And the illustrations are gorgeous. And at the very first page, it says, in the middle of drawing a drawing, someone asked me, what is an artist? I thought about it and said, and then you see all of these pictures of the artist. It's kind of a Godzilla looking kind of dinosaur, but this artist loves to see the joy and beauty in everything. And their head is full of colors, feelings, and moods. And the artist uses crayons, paints, and pencils. So different types of mediums to show kids what an artist uses. And so the artist goes and draws everything, and then they finally go to the city and they paint on buildings, and kids are stopping by, and adults are stopping by and looking at the artwork. And the artist paints more and paints bigger, and more people come from all over the city to see the art that the artist paints. But the brush slips and the artist colors outside the lines. Oh no, she says, I didn't mean to do that. I think I've made a mistake. And so the artist feels embarrassed. Instead of brave, she feels sad and all alone. I don't want to paint anymore, she says. So she doesn't. But then a little girl steps forward and she says, coloring outside the lines doesn't matter, she says. Mistakes are how you learn. I love that lesson because it gives kids the ability to say, oh, I can try again. I can make whatever I want. I can color my world however I want. This book is perfect if you are considering doing the Finding Your Voice theme for summer reading, or if you're holding a art themed story time for older kids. It's beautifully illustrated, beautiful message. So I definitely recommend The Artist by Ed Veer and Squeakaboo by Natasha Wing. We are going to move to teen fiction because we're switching up the order a bit. The first book I have for you for teen fiction is Sunshine, How One Camp Taught Me About Life, Death, and Hope. This is by Jared J. Krzyzowska, and he is the author of Hey Kiddo. Wonderful book. If you have not read Hey Kiddo, please pick up that book. This got a starred review in Publishers Weekly, and this is a follow-up to Hey Kiddo. But this follows Jared in 1994. He's 16 years old. He's a camp counselor at a summer camp for children with severe illnesses. And he is there with their families. He's kind of like a camp counselor. He is closest to a young child named Eric. And the special thing about Eric, that's him on Jared's shoulders. Eric has acute lymphoblastic leukemia. And he also is close to Diego. He's a younger teen who is losing cognitive motor skills because of a brain tumor, and he uses a wheelchair to get around. Jared and the other teens really try to make the campers feel welcome. They make them feel included. He draws pictures for the other campers, and Diego, who just has been quiet throughout this whole time at the camp, finally starts to open up to Jared. And Jared also gets to wear the unfortunate stinky fart smelling mascot costume named Chippy. It's an ugly looking costume, let me tell you. The counselors' dialogues, whether they're hanging out or planning activities or discussing death and faith, you really feel attached to them, and you really understand what they're going through and what Jared's going through. And it was easy to kind of feel like you feel like what camp meant to them. You feel it with them. You start to understand what this whole process meant to each one of the teens, especially Jared. The afterword in the back of the book, it provides context about the differences between the contents of the book and what really happened. I think Jared, from what I understand, he had to change names just for privacy purposes. There's also a special part in the book where the teens at the very end of camp, they sing Billy Joel's Lullaby. It's very moving. You just get so sad for these kids. But for Jared, it meant so much to him. And he even volunteers an adult at the camp that Paul Newman had set up as well. Very moving, very awesome illustrated book. So please pick up Sunshine by Jared J. Krzyzowska. The next book is called Different for Boys. This is by Patrick Ness. I love Patrick Ness. He wrote A Monster Calls. That is one of my favorite books. Different for Boys received star reviews from PW, Publishers Weekly, Booklist, and Kirkus, excuse me. This is a short read for teenagers. It's all done in black and white illustrations by Taya Bendix, and it's 97 pages long. But the interesting thing about this book is that the main character, Ant, when he's cussing, all the swear words are in black rectangles. And you'll see why. But Ant is a young man who is struggling with his sexuality. He is coming to terms that he is gay, but he keeps it to himself. He doesn't let his friends know. And so he goes back to school, and Charlie is one of his best friends. And Charlie is also struggling with his sexuality because Ant and Charlie have a quiet closet romance relationship. They've been making out all this time, but they don't talk about it in public. And then you have Josh, who is straight, who is on the football team, who wants to have Ant join the team, but Charlie is like, no, you need to just play soccer with me. This is what we've chosen. This is what we're doing. And then there's Jack, who is gay and has confided in Ant, but Ant doesn't really know how to respond. It's a great book, powerful book. If you are working with LGBTQ students who are coming to terms with their sexuality, with being gay, and it just examines loneliness, intimacy, betrayal. There is a powerful scene where Ant gets punched by Charlie, and it is a very powerful scene. This is realistic LGBTQIA plus fiction. So if you need more of that in your collection for teens, I would recommend getting Different for Boys by Patrick Ness. Flower Heart. Flower Heart is a novel by Catherine Bakewell. This received a starred review in Publishers Weekly, and this blends fantasy fiction with romance. And 16-year-old Claire has accidentally cursed her father with wild magic. And in order to save him, she makes a dangerous bargain with a local wizard who happens to be her childhood best friend. If you have teens that love fantasy fiction, romance, definitely pick up Flower Heart by Catherine Bakewell. Next book on my list is Dear Medusa. This is by Olivia A. Cole. This book received starred reviews in Publishers Weekly, and it received a starred review in School Library Journal. This is a novel in verse about Alicia. She is a 16-year-old female, but she feels isolated and she feels alone. And there's a reason why she feels that way. She was sexually abused by a teacher at her private school and cast as the slut who asked for it. And she is just angry about the whole situation. She dyes her hair red. That's why you see the fiery red hair in her on the cover with the snakes. She's trying to come to terms with that, what happened. The book starts out a year ahead of what happened. So this happened a year before. And she's noticing that friends don't talk to her anymore. She was on the track team. The track team members don't talk to her anymore. Her best friend, Sarah, who is very religious and tried to get her to go to her church, Sarah stopped talking to her too. So Alicia feels like she has no one. She has no one to help her. But then at her locker, she keeps receiving these mysterious letters. And the letters are from another victim who is facing the same type of abuse from this teacher. And instead of Alicia being quiet, she's finally forced to confront the teacher and do something about it. This is a powerful book. I love the fact it was written in verse. It makes it a quick read. If there's also an author's note in the back of the book, that her author note in the back of the book is very powerful. She talks about other people that in her life that was a role model to her. And she thanked them because she said, thank you for believing me. Thank you for believing me. She named out each person that believed her. So if you get a chance, please pick up Dear Medusa by Olivia A. Cole. My Flawless Life. This is a unique thriller by Yvonne Woon. This received 2-star reviews in Publishers Weekly and in Kirkus. And this is about Hannah. Hannah is known as a fixer at her private high school in Washington, D.C. She knows who to call, she knows what to say, and how to make sure secrets stay where they belong, buried. Hannah can fix anything. She kind of reminded me of Olivia Pope from Scandal a little bit, just being that person that could fix everything. And this takes place in Washington, D.C. at a private elite school. So she's able to fix anything and everything except her own life. Her father, the senator, which his name is Skip Lerner, he was arrested for an accident that left one woman nearly dead. And because of his accident, Hannah feels like she has no life. She feels like her father has ruined everything. She has no friends, she has no life. But Hannah is hired by a person who's only known as 3 to expose the dark secrets of her former best friend at her school. But while she's digging up all of this information, she's coming to terms with a secret that she's known all along, and she has to grapple with that decision. So if you like slow burning thrillers, this is going to be the book for you. It's about fixing things, fixing our friends, fixing ourselves, and fixing our complicated past. So this is kind of written in the vein of E. Lockhart. So if you like the mystery thrillers, definitely pick up My Flawless Life by Yvonne Woon. Okay, now we're going to switch gears again to early readers. So the first book on my list is called Monster Truck, and this is by Mercer Mayer. And this is a cute beginning reader. This is about Little Critter and Tiger. Little Critter and Tiger are playing with Tiger's new remote monster truck, which is called the Squisher. Little Critter wants a new truck just like Tiger, but his father says he has to do all these chores and complete them for 2 weeks. After all of those chores, Little Critter has saved his money, and Critter and Dad drive to the toy store, only to find out the Squisher truck has sold out. No fair, yells Little Critter. However, his father sees a flyer for the local monster truck rally and decides to take Little Critter to the event. Since his Uncle Zeb just happens to drive the Zebathon, found that a little bit convenient, which is a red monster truck. This book has simple sentences, simple word repetition, and it's basic language for kids to understand. And if you have a truck enthusiast, someone that really loves trucks, definitely pick up Monster Truck. It's my first reading experience by Mercer Mayer. And someone just said, oh, I love the Little Critter books. I love Little Critter too. Next book on our list is Tacos Today by Raul III. This is part of the El Toro and Friends series. But let me just stop you real quick. This book, when I read it, this will make you hungry for tacos. I mean, this will make you hungry for any type of taco. So what happens is El Toro and his luchadores, the wrestlers, Mordillo, La Oink Oink, yes, that's the name, La Oink Oink, Jack A. Lopez, and Lizarda, all of these wrestlers are hungry, and all they want is tacos. And they love all kinds of tacos. Fish tacos, breakfast tacos, cactus tacos, tongue tacos. Problem is, they don't got any money. So they take their change, whatever spare change that they have, and they travel on a party bus to Taco Square. And what they do is they show off their wrestling moves to raise money to buy some tacos. Simple premise. This is a colorful, bilingual beginning reader for beginning reader that is just wonderful, full of colors, full of life, just really beautiful illustrations. And again, you will be hungry for tacos when you see this. So definitely pick up Tacos Today by Raul III. And what do you know? It's Taco Tuesday. Imagine that. And guess what? We are now moving to middle grade books. This book is called Squished by Megan Wagner Lloyd and Michelle Me Nutter. This received star reviews in Kirkus, School Library Journal, and Booklist. I can tell you, I really related to this book because I grew up with 4 sisters and 3 brothers. And the main character, Avery, she has 6 siblings in her household. So I could sympathize with her from the get-go. But 11-year-old Avery, she loves living in Hickory Valley, Maryland. She loves her neighborhood, she loves her school, and she loves the end of summer fair that she always goes to with her 2 best friends. But she's really tired of feeling, dare I say, squished by her 6 siblings. It's a lot. They're noisy, chaotic. She's responsible sometimes for her younger siblings, and they just love her a little too much. And all Avery wants is just her own room, her own little quiet space where she can make art. So she gets mad at her parents when her older brother, Theo, who's kind of grumpy, he gets his own room instead of her. And for Avery, she gets a room with her baby brother, Max, and she's not thrilled about it. And she's already sharing the room with her clingy sister, Pearl. So Avery has come up with a plan to finally get her own room, all while trying to get Max, her baby brother, at night to sleep. But along the way, there's some changes, there's some challenges, and this was just a super sweet read. If you know anyone that has a lot of siblings and dealing with sibling rivalry, this would be a great book to share. So definitely pick up this graphic novel, Squished. The next one is my other personal favorite, A First Time for Everything. This is by Dan Santat. You know Dan Santat, he is big in the picture book world, and now he has come out with his middle grade perspective. This got starred reviews in Kirkus, Booklist, School Library Journal, and Publishers Weekly, and deservedly so. This is about Dan's experience as a middle schooler during his 3-week trip overseas in Europe. And he says that trip changed his life. Because right now in middle school, Dan is the good kid. He never gets into trouble. He helps his mother, and his mother has lupus. At school, he's bullied. Girls make fun of him, and he feels invisible. He doesn't understand why he's even going on his trip. And his parents really want him to go. They want him to go, have a good time. And he visits France, Germany, England, and Switzerland. And the crazy thing about this trip, the same mean girls that bullied him, they're also going on this trip. But when he goes on this trip, Dan really discovers who he is, and he discovers himself. He also develops his first crush on Amy, this pretty blonde-haired girl with a short bobbed haircut. This was a funny book. It's heartwarming. It's a heartwarming graphic novel, and it has a really cool feature. It has a QR code, and when the kids scan the QR code, it goes to Dan Santat's Spotify mixtape. He made a mixtape of all the songs that he listened to as a middle schooler. And I played the list because I have a Spotify account, and it's some good music. You got some French music, you got some techno, you got some Depeche Mode on there. I was like, this is a pretty tight list. So definitely check out A First Time for Everything. And one more thing, he kept in touch with his classmates. The back of the book, he talks about tracking them down, but he kept in touch with his classmates, and he even kept in touch with Amy, the girl that he had a crush on. He wrote letters to her for years, and then they stopped. But then during social media, when social media came about, he was able to track her down. But this was a fun graphic memoir, and it was worth the read. You Are Here, Connecting Flights. This is a collection of short stories written by Asian American authors, and it's edited by Ellen O. And this received a starred review in School Library Journal. If you have not heard of this book, this is the premise. In a crowded Chicago airport, an incident at the TSA impacts 12 Asian Americans. And all all of these kids are strangers to each other until this one event. You have Paul. Paul is traveling to Thailand with his family, and his grandmother brings a unique item through customs. Then you have Jay, who's this young boy who's just waiting for his mom to finish his shift, and he sees on the monitors a young child get lost, and he's accidentally called a refugee. But each story intertwines with each other, and it is so good. Kids are exposed to microaggressions, family customs, just morality and racism. And I feel like the authors did a very good job interweaving those things in these stories. So if you like short stories that connect together, if you just like reading up about families and just the way microaggressions affect our society, definitely pick up You Are Here Connecting Flights by Ellen O. The Oja Woja, a horror mystery or whatever. Yes, that's the name of the title. This is by Magdalene Visaggio and Jen St. Onge. This is a graphic novel that received starred reviews in Kirkus and Booklist. And this is about two middle schoolers. Val is autistic, and Lainey. They are two best friends. They've been best friends for a long time. Lainey is Vietnamese and transgender, but they are best friends who obsess over aliens, ghosts, true crime, and paranormal phenomenon. While working on a school project about their town, Bolingbrook, they find out that Bolingbrook has a supernatural history with the Oja Woja. It's a evil, terrifying spirit, and it was connected to the series of mysterious tragedies throughout the town's sordid history. So the girls, they're excited. They want to know about this. They want to know more about the Oja Woja. So what they did, they opened up the portal and they woke up the Oja Woja. And to make matters worse, the spirit has taken possession of the class bully in their school and is making their lives a living hell, literally. So now both of the teams have to try to figure out a way to return things back to normal and put the Oja Woja back where they belong. This was very funny and very cool. I loved Val's way of info dumping, if you will, information throughout the expository scenes. It draws in, how should I put this? It draws inspiration from shows like Unsolved Mysteries and Sailor Moon. Very cool illustrations, very fun read. If you have kids that like spooky stories, get the Oja Woja for them. Okay, we're gonna move and switch gears to board book roundup. These are the board books for this month. The one on the left of your screen is called Crayola, My Crayons, My World. This just features the 8 primary colors, and it names items that are of that color. So it encourages kids to touch, look, and feel. It has large flaps. So like, for example, for green, it'll say, yes, green frog, green leaves, but then it'll have different items that could be colored green, things that you wouldn't think about that are colored green. And it does that for each color. And it's basically telling kids you can use your crayons to color anything you want. Use your imagination. Frogs don't have to be green, they can be black. Birds don't have to be blue, they can be brown. Basically exploring that, use your imagination. The second book at the bottom is called See, Touch, Feel, Tummy Time. And that is a high contrast mix of high contrast pictures, real pictures of babies. It has touch and feel fold outs, and it has 2 mirrors inside. So this is great for babies, and babies like to see pictures of other babies. So there's areas where they can touch the pictures, they can feel the items. Huge fold out tabs, so it's big for babies' hands. So this would be a great baby board book, and it's very sturdy, very durable. And then the last book at the very bottom to your right is called The Making of Butterflies. This is a folk tale from the creators of Magnolia Flower, and it's with Zora Neale Hurston and Ibram X. Kendi. But this tells the story about the origin of butterflies and how butterflies came to be. This is a beautifully illustrated board book, and just grab it. It's gorgeous. I just want to make sure you guys get it because it's super duper beautiful. I can tell you about it, but you have to see it for yourself because the pictures are just amazing. So these are the board books you should have in your library this month. Okay, moving on to chapter books. Okay, the first book on my list is Henry Like Always. This is written by Jen Bailey, and it's illustrated by Nika Song. This received a starred review on Kirkus. There is also a picture book that follows Henry, written by Jen Bailey as well. But Jen is moving into Henry as a elementary school student. So Henry is a child on the autism spectrum, but he loves his classroom. He loves the students in his classroom. He likes the consistent schedule. He likes just things orderly. However, the following week, his teacher has made a schedule change. His class is going to have a class parade on Friday. On Fridays is usually the day where they have shared time, where all the students sit in a circle and they share something about themselves. Henry doesn't like that there's going to be a parade on the same day and time as share time. He doesn't like parades because they're too loud. And this is a very, very short and sweet chapter book, and it examines the ups and downs of classroom life and Henry's ups and downs. These are some of the ups and downs that he has. He avoids marker missiles. Marker missiles are when kids throw markers at each other. He has stomach volcanoes, so when he gets upset, or if he doesn't know how to express himself, his stomach goes into these little volcanoes. He calls them stomach volcanoes. And there's some days where he just doesn't feel orange. Like he says, he doesn't feel orange. This was a sweet book. It's a very funny book, but it's also good for reassuring kids that, there may be change. There's sometimes changes, and that is okay. So if you have a child that just needs that reassurance of change is okay, definitely pick up Henry Like Always by Jen Bailey. Okay, I put these two books on my list because they were just really, really very simple beginning kind of into that chapter book phase. If you're familiar with Scholastic has the Branches series, and the Branches series are very, very short chapter books, but they have a lot of pictures and illustrations, and they're very short chapter books for children. This series is called the Party Diaries, and there's two books in the series. Book one is called Awesome Orange Birthday, and book two is called Starry Henna Night. And they're both written by Matali Banjari Roots, and they're illustrated by Aaliyah Jalil. And this focuses on Priya. Priya is 8 years old, and she's passionate about the planet, and she's passionate about saving animals, and she likes to plan parties. So in book one, she decides to start her own party planning business. And with her business, her first birthday party is her auntie's birthday party. And she plans to donate the money that she makes to help the cutest endangered animal on the planet, the quokka. But she doesn't realize that with party planning, There's a lot of responsibility, and she's wondering if she can get everything done on her to-do list before the big day on Saturday. For the second book, Starry Henna Night, Priya gets a hold of party planning. She feels like she's confident in it a little more, but in the second book, she's been asked by a teenage friend of the family to create a henna night for her teen party. But Priya doesn't know anything about teens. How does she deal with this? So each book features facts about an endangered animal. There's questions in the back of the book about the text, so that way children can understand what they read. And each book provides a DIY, do-it-yourself party craft that kids can do at home. There's super bright illustrations, short chapters, and this caters to the second to third grade appeal. So definitely pick up the Party Diaries by Mitali Banjari Roots. Leva at Last. This book was so cute. This is by Sarah Pennypacker, and this is about Leva, and this is her name, Leva Space Thorn Blossom. Sounds kind of weird, doesn't it? Leva Space Thorn Blossom. It's weird because her parents just didn't really care. Even at birth, when her mother gave birth to her, the nurse is holding her and asking the mom to fill out her birth certificate. And her mom says, "Leave a space." So her name is literally Leva Space Thorn Blossom. And Leva only knows the home that she's been in. She's never been outside the outside world. She tells the readers that she's either 8 or 9 because she doesn't really know. Her parents are the most useless, horrible parents I've ever read about. Her mother is the mayor of Nutsmore, the town, and all she cares about is fame. Her father is the city treasurer of the town, and all he cares about is money. They literally come home, watch TV, count their money, watch this famous show, and Leva wants to know more about the outside world. She wants to know more about people. And they're like, "No, you don't need to know about the outside world. Your life is here. You just work for us." And so one day, Leva breaks out of her house and she goes to this big building that has a book drop. And she's like, "What is that?" And she discovers that it's a library. And she befriends a group of librarians who get her a library card. They give her books to read, but they teach her about people and what it means to be part of a family. This was a sweet book, funny book. If you are looking for funny books, but also that has a message of heart and family, definitely pick up Leva at Last. The illustrations in this book are by Matthew Cordell. He also has a series, Poppy and Carnival, which is a beginning reader series. So very fun book to read. My next one on this list is Big Tree by Brian Selznick. This received starred reviews in School Library Journal, Book List, and Publishers Weekly. This is a very large book. And if you are familiar with Brian Selznick has so many illustrations through his books, and this one is no different. This one is about 2 seed siblings, Merwin and Louise. They are siblings from a sycamore tree, and they have to use their wits and imaginations to navigate the world that they are in. Their mother is a leaf, and I loved the mother in this story because she teaches them to set down roots and find your way, find your wings. You need to set down roots to find yourselves. And after she dies, the 2 seed siblings have to navigate this dangerous world that's filled with dinosaurs, there's butterflies, there's talking plants, meteors, and it's just a beautifully illustrated book. And it discusses the fear of never finding the right conditions to set down roots and to become big trees. But I love this book. It's beautiful. There's information in the back of the book about trees, and this is a just huge book. So just FYI. But this is called Big Tree by Brian Selznick. Okay, moving right along, we are moving straight to picture books. So this is called How to Write a Poem. This is written by Kwame Alexander, and it's illustrated by Melissa Sweet. This received starred reviews in School Library Journal, Booklist, and Kirkus. And I loved this book because it has collaged artwork and basically talks about how to write a poem, and it shows kids through the pictures how to write a poem. I brought the book with me because I thought, I don't know if I can show the pictures on this on the actual spreadsheet, but look at that. They're just beautiful illustrations. I love the collage feeling of art. And I feel like art has a wonderful way of telling stories, but I love this. But it's beautifully illustrated and showing children how to write a poem. This is a wonderful addition to your collection. So please pick up How to Write a Poem by Kwame Alexander and Melissa Sweet. The next book is called All's Right with the World. This is written by Jennifer Adams, and it's illustrated by Christopher Silas Neal. This is kind of a joyful ode to the everyday moments in a child's life. And this is kind of a child-friendly reimagining of the classic poem Pippa's Song, and that is by the poet Robert Browning. So things that are just all right, that's right with the world. So waffles for breakfast. We see kids eating waffles. We see kids walking to school with a friend, playing in the park, making dinner, getting tucked into bed. These moments shape the familiar rhythms of the child's life. So this would be a wonderful book for bedtime if you're looking for a calming bedtime book, because let's face it, how many times have parents asked, hey, can you find me a book that's calming for bedtime? This would be a lovely addition to your bedtime routine. So definitely pick up All's Right with the World by Jennifer Adams. Okay, this next book really hit me. It's a beautifully illustrated book, but it has such a powerful message to it. This is called To the Other Side. This is written and illustrated by Erica Meza. This received a starred review in Kirkus and Publishers Weekly. But this is about a brother and sister. They're unnamed, but they make the dangerous journey to the United States. The sister tells the brother, the rules of the game are simple. Avoid the monsters, don't get caught, and keep moving. She tells the younger sibling to put on a mask. So that's why you see this on the cover, the pink bunny mask, kind of for both children. But you see the children pair up and they travel on foot, by bus, they travel on a raft with other kids and adults, they're hopping on trains, they see caves. And this spread that I put at the bottom of the page, it was just a powerful image to me. But it's the remaining kids, because they travel with a big group of kids, but then it gets smaller and smaller. The remaining kids on the spread, they reach the border wall, and on the wall it says, También de este lado hay sueños, which that translates in English to, there are dreams on this side too. I was reading the back of the book, and Erica, she interviewed refugee children and relied on her own personal experience to tell this story. It's a powerful and stunning picture book. I love the dark tones, and I love how they use color to kind of illustrate movement in the book. But definitely pick up To the Other Side by Erica Meza. Next book is The Train Home. This is written and illustrated by Don Ah Kim. This received a star review from School Library Journal. And this is a gorgeous picture book about Nari. She's a young girl who lives in the city, and her house is loud. She lives in an apartment with her family. She hears her sister whining a lot. Her parents are bickering. Her grandparents keep chattering. And she just wants a quiet place. She wants a quiet space all to herself. So she takes the train to her dream home. And in her mind, she takes it to a flower garden where she can be around flowers, or the beach. And there's a spread of her at the beach, and you see these big blue, beautiful waves. Or she takes it underneath the ocean and you see the mermaids, and she gets to be around mermaids. And then the train takes her to a library where there's the two lions, I believe it's Patience and Fortitude from the New York Public Library. And you see this room of nothing but books just for her. And it's just so gorgeous. It's another cozy bedtime book if you want a quiet, calm story time for kids. It'd be even nice if you had like a little reading cozy nook for kids. It would just be perfect for that. So definitely grab The Train Home by Don Ah Kim. The next book is called Ancestry, The Mystery and Majesty of Ancient Cave Art. This is by Hannah Sawyer. This received a star review in Kirkus. And this is a cool nonfiction picture book about the history found in rocks and cave art. It just has different tools of what they used back then to depict images, the challenges and the survival that indigenous individuals faced during those times. And the artwork is just stunning. I mean, there's so much cool artwork that kids can pick up if they're doing a history report about caves and cave art. The cool things in the back of this book, though, it has an actual map listing of rock art all over the world. So it'll give you the country, and then it'll say what kind of art is found in the cave in that country. It also has a glossary section for words to know. It has a timeline and sources for further reading. So definitely well illustrated, well researched. So pick up Ancestry for your nonfiction collection. Lost Cat. Our next one is Lost Cat. And this is written and illustrated by Jacqueline K. Rayner. This got a starred review in Kirkus. And this is just a silly, cute, simple story about a little girl who's worried about her missing cat, Fred. And Fred has a lot of fun adventures. As you can see on the cover, he's driving a car. Fred the cat goes all over. He goes to outer space. He wanders around the city, but he realizes, oh my gosh, I'm missing. I need to go back home. So then at the very end of the story, he finds his way back home just in time for dinner. It was a sweet picture book, funny picture book. So definitely check out Lost Cat by Jacqueline K. Rayner. This book is super cool. When I was a youth librarian, I did a story time for preschool, and I did a preschool story time called about earthworms. And it was always very hard to find books about earthworms. I was able to find one, but then I would bring in live earthworms for the kids to play with, touch, and feel, and bring dirt to kind of have the earthworms play in the dirt. This would be a perfect book if you hold a earthworm story time. This is called Just a Worm, and this is written and illustrated by Marie Boyd. And this is about a worm who's just upset at being called just a worm. So the worm sets out around the garden to find out what the other insects do out in the wild. And the worm discovers his own role in keeping a garden and the ecosystem healthy. The back of the book has really cool information because it has a quill butterfly craft. So if you wanted to pair this with a craft activity, there is a butterfly craft in there. There's also a glossary, there's earthworm facts, and I don't know if you can tell by the illustrations, but I love how Marie Boyd was able to make flowers from narrow strips of paper. All of the illustrations in this book are just from strips of paper, and she created these beautiful, beautiful pieces of art. So this would be a great STEM story time, great earthworm story time. You could bring live earthworms to view. This is a hit. So finally moving to what I am reading, or what I'm going to be starting reading. These are the 3 books that I am going to be picking up. And for those of you that don't know, I love horror. Horror is my jam. And someone, oh, really quickly, someone just said, quilling is not a fast art style. I'm a little in awe. Yeah, me too. I have never done any type of paper quilling, but it is fantastic. But a lot of people know that I love horror. I love horror all day, every day. These are the 3 books that I'm going to be starting to read. Cherish came in for me last week, and this is a teen novel about a young woman who inherits a farmhouse after her grandmother, who she's never met, her grandmother dies, and she leaves her a letter with some incomprehensible instructions. We'll see how this goes, because I'm curious to see how this connects to teens, but this is a teen novel. And then The Haunting of Alejandra by B. Castro, that is an adult fiction horror novel. This is the premise. There's a darkness that threatens to consume her, and Alejandra discovers that she, like the women in her family before her, are being haunted by La Llorona. And La Llorona is this kind of vengeful, murderous spirit of Mexican legend. And she summons, Alejandra has to summon everything within her to banish this spirit. So that's Alejandra. And then The Lake House, this is a brand new book that just came on my desk today. I can't wait to dig into this. The premise for this, or the description of it, one critic said it's Yellow Jackets meets oh my goodness, Karen E. Lockhart. So it's those 2 connections together. It's supposed to be kind of a mystery thriller, kind of like in the vein of We Were Liars, and creepy, creepy stuff. I love scary books. Yes, Patricia Jackson, yes, I love scary books. So I'm looking forward to reading these. Okay, just so you know, every time we have a check it out, we have a giveaway piece. So today we will pick 3 winners to receive a book prize pack. And if you are a winner, we will send you a book prize pack with books that I've talked about and some other goodies via Iowa Shares. And I just want to say congratulations to the February winners: Jara Boost from Pleasantville Public Library, Nancy Ruzika from Guttenberg Public Library, and Lisa Formhouse from Malvern Public Library. And really quickly, we do have some upcoming events. Wednesday, May 10th, from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock p.m., we have a webinar called Decoding Dyslexia. And that will be a very interesting webinar to attend, to learn about how to spot dyslexia and how to decode it. And Sam, remind me, is this from Iowa Reading Research Center?
It is from Decoding Dyslexia, Iowa, actually, is the name of that group. And I am pulling up the link right now. There it is.
Beautiful. So you can register on Iowa Learns. That is coming up on Wednesday, May 10th from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock p.m. And just a quick reminder, if you have not had a chance to see the wonderful webinar, The Whole Book Approach with the Eric Carle Museum of Picture Book Art, you have until 2 o'clock today to view this webinar. It is fantastic. I've been telling so many people about it. It's definitely worth your time. So please, please watch this webinar. It's like the Disney Vault. Movies are there and then they go back in the vault. So please get a chance to watch this webinar before 2 o'clock today. And also our All Iowa Reads author webinars, the registration is open. If you go to our All Iowa Reads page, which I pulled up here for you, you are able to register for our virtual visits in June. Sequoia Nagamatsu will be Tuesday, June 13th for How High We Go in the Dark. For the children's webinar, Nikki Smith, the Golden Hour is Wednesday, June 14th, 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock. And Angeline Booley with Firekeeper's Daughter, that will be Thursday, June 15th, 4 to 5 p.m. With the Children and Teen All Iowa Reads webinars, they will be moderated by the Iowa Student Poet Ambassador. She is a teen from Davenport Central High School. Her name is Lola, and she is a fabulous poet, and she will have the wonderful honor of moderating and interviewing the two children and teen authors. So please tell everybody and get yourself registered. We're gonna have a fabulous time in June. And with that, I just want to tell you guys, thank you so much. I'm a little rusty today, so I got to get myself back in the groove, man. So
we will get back in the groove. I don't know if we have the May Check It Out posted yet. Come to think of it, let me look.
Oh, heavens to
We
Betsy.
better get
Oh,
that
goodness,
posted.
guys.
Iowa Learns is playing tricks on me. Oh, we do. Here it is. See you guys next month on the last Tuesday of the month. Yeah, Janeé's got the date there, so there's the registration. But oh my goodness, I flipped through the train book when it was sitting on your desk, and I always love to get the picture books, a little sneak peek, but that is such a beautiful book. I think that's definitely a highlight for me. The Train Home, is that what it's called this month?
Train Home.
The Train
Just
Home, so
nice
pretty.
and calming.
It is. We read Eric Carle's The Nonsense book before bed last night, which might be the opposite of a calming book, as my kid was just cackling the whole time. So we need to go back to some calming books. But thank you, Janeé. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you at Check It Out next month. We'll see you at the Pop OS Live with the Decoding Dyslexia Iowa. And sure to have a good time. Thanks, everyone.